Hi guys, welcome to my new video. Today we're going to be looking at reverse left. To start with, we're going to show you, using the Neilbeaver app on the iPad, how the manoeuvre works from a bird's eye view and what we're going to be looking for when we're doing the manoeuvre. So, as you'll notice here, we've stopped before the junction. Now, this will happen on your driving test, so it's a good idea to practice it, just checking your mirrors as you're pulling up and signalling if necessary. So while we're here, what we're also going to be doing is looking at the junction to see how sharp the corner is that we're going to be reversing round. So we're also going to be looking around the junction to see both ends are clear and that there's nothing obstructing us from reversing one side to the other. Roughly 3 to 4 car lengths back from the junction. Okay, so now what we're going to be doing is starting off with something called POM, which you will probably have heard of by now, and it's prepare, observe and manoeuvre, or move. Okay, so prepare the car. That means getting the car into gear with the clutch down into first, getting your gentle bite point, setting a little gas because we're only setting off very slowly. Once we've got a bite point, we need to observe and make sure it's safe to set off. Checking from our left blind spot all the way around to our right. When it's clear, we're going to set off slowly, and as we set off, we're going to keep checking our mirrors, looking for anything coming behind us. Okay, if I just stop it there. Now, we're going to be aiming for somewhere near the red circle that I'm drawing now. But what we need to do now is check first our centre mirror to see who's behind us, and also our side mirror. Checking the side mirrors especially to make sure we haven't got anybody coming up the inside of us. Now, we can start signalling, but we don't want to start signalling until we're level with a T. So somewhere about there, because if we did have anybody that was at the junction wanting to turn out, they may take it as a wrong signal. When pulling up on the left again, we aim to stop 2 to 3 car lengths away from the junction and about half a metre out. The best way to judge this would be by turning towards the curb and back out again slightly, just to straighten yourself up, and then checking once you can see the curb in the mirror, that left hand mirror there, and you can judge to see how far away you are. Now you'll also notice a lot of corners have these storm drains, which I'm just circling here, either side of the corner. This allows us also to gauge how far away we are from the curb and whether we're too close or too far. Ideally clipping or just missing the drains. Once in this position, we need to get the car straight into reverse. Then any cars that are coming behind us will have a better chance of seeing and knowing what we're doing, along with our brake lights and our indicators if necessary. Then that's 3 signals to show that we're about to reverse around the corner. Okay, next we do POM again, so we prepare the car, we're already in reverse. Get a gentle bite point. We observe, having a good look all the way around, from left blind spot all the way around to the right blind spot, including behind you. Here we're showing that. Okay, and when it's clear, what we want to do then is we want to be moving back. When we start reversing back, we want to just be using a gentle bite point, dipping the clutch up and down just to control the speed, breaking it up into many stages so that if you do go slightly wrong, you can always correct it because you've only gone half a car length at a time. Okay, now we want to be looking about 80% behind us through the rear window when we're reversing, and about 20% in this mirror just to make sure that we're still straight, and also just everywhere around us as well to make sure there's no cars coming and there's nothing that we're going to cause danger. Once we get to our turning point, what we want to do is stop, because we're going to be turning our car out into the road. So as you can see, the car's level with the curb just disappearing. You can see that in your left mirror. Although the curb's going to be starting to disappear, we don't want it to disappear completely. It needs to be in view at all times, otherwise we don't know how sharp it is and where we need to turn. This next stage involves us observing again, and this is so important because this is when we start to actually turn the car out into the road. So we need to look out for people coming before, in front of us, and behind, and also people in the junction as well. So by looking all the way around again, from left blind spot all the way around to right, that should cover the junction in front of you, behind you, and any pedestrians that might be about to cross the road behind you. It's also very important to stop for them if we do see them and if they are about to walk behind. So we're going to go for the manoeuvre now of going round the corner, and when we're doing this we want to aim for about 3/4 of a turn. So if we imagine the steering wheel is normally looking like that, we're going to have it turned so that it looks like that, and it's going to be going round 3/4 to the left, the way that we want to turn. Whichever way that you want the back end of the car to turn is the way that you turn. So very slowly, getting a very gentle bite point again, we want to start reversing back ever so slowly. And as we start to move, we want to get that 3/4 of a turn on. Again, when we're reversing here, just using a gentle bite point. So as soon as we start moving, turn the wheel fast 3/4 of a turn. As soon as we've got that turn on, we then want to check 80% in our left hand mirror and 20% everywhere else. Whilst concentrating hard on the corner, we also want to be checking just as much everywhere around, looking for any hazards, and still stopping every half a car length and looking all the way around so that we get our observation and also control. We're checking for pedestrians. If a pedestrian walks behind us, we have to stop. We're also looking out for any people turning into the junctions or just anybody that's going to cause us a hazard. Remember to stop and keep looking every half a car length for anything that's going to cause you a hazard or a danger. Now every time you're stopping, you can also have a good check to make sure you are definitely in your right position again. So you're going to be getting lots of control and observations, and you'll also be nice and accurate as well. So again, another half a car length, same thing applies, just having a good look all the way around. It's worth mentioning again that when we're reversing, if we need to come closer to the curb, we turn more to the left. If we need to come further away from the curb, we steer more to the right, straightening out a bit. This final bit of the turn is when we need to be looking mainly again in our left hand mirror, side mirror, to see when we're level, that's not very level, when we're level with the curb that's behind us, because we don't want to be coming off in a diagonal, so we want to be completely straight with the curb. So we've stopped at that point, we're having another good look all the way around, and at this point we switch our observations to straight through the rear window over our left shoulder, checking because we may have had somebody waiting at the junction for us. And what we do now is just reverse back slowly again, about 3 to 4 car lengths back, making sure that we're keeping the junction clear for anybody turning into the road, and also anybody that's behind us that may also be wanting to come and turn left or right at the junction. Now what we'll do, guys, is we'll head to the car and we'll see this once we're out on the open road. Here you see some images from the car. Now we're going to be getting the car ready to set off to the other side of the junction. As you can see, we're parked up at the side just before the junction, getting ourselves ready to go, preparing the car, observing, looking for any cars. Once the cars have gone past, we're safe to set off. We set off down the road. About now, checking our mirrors centre and left. If there's anybody around, we need to indicate left. Otherwise we're pulling up, and as you can see here, about a drain away from the curb, about 12 inches. And if you see here, the curb cuts through the dashboard in a certain point, so you can use a reference point. Get the car into reverse, do your POM again, prepare, observe, manoeuvre. Once it's clear, we can start setting off backwards. At this point, we should be looking about 80% through the rear window and about 20% everywhere else. Once we're stopping, about a car length before the junction, have a good check all the way around. As you can see here, I'm just lining myself up to make sure that I'm just clipping the storm drain, which I was talking about earlier. There we go. Okay, now what we need to do is just look for any pedestrians and cars. So we've had a good look and a stop. Once the final one's gone past, just have another check over your right shoulder just to make sure there's nothing come, and get to your turning point. The turning point, like we were saying, is when the curb starts coming away from the car. Next, what we do is have a good check around, and then we're going to be getting 3/4 of a turn on. Another useful tip is to have the driver's window open about 2 to 3 inches. This way you'll also be able to hear anything before you see it, which should make you automatically stop to look round to see where the vehicle's coming from. Now once any vehicles have gone, check again over your right shoulder and just into the junction as well to make sure there's nobody else or nobody waiting, and then we carry on turning. At this point, if we're getting closer to the curb, we just straighten up a bit. If we're starting to lose the curb at all, we just need to turn more. Now once everybody's clear of the junction again and we've checked over all our shoulders, we carry on reversing back. Again about another half a car length, and then once we've stopped, what we need to do is just check all the way around again, from left all the way around to the right. If it's clear, carry on. Again, if we're getting too close, straighten up a bit. If we're getting too far away from the curb, put more turn on. Keep stopping, having a good look. Again, if you hear anything through your window, stop, have another good look all the way around, make sure it's safe. And then once we're straight, straightening the wheel and just reversing back in a straight line, and keep remembering to check about 80% through the rear window over your left shoulder, moving back to about 3 to 4 car lengths back from the junction, remembering to stop before any drives or anywhere that's not going to be safe, convenient and legal position. Once there, handbrake on, into neutral, and then any cars can come past and it shows that we've finished the manoeuvre. And there we go guys.